Davidson has to pay teachers more money above and beyond what they're paying them to get them to come to Davidson to put up what's going on in the classrooms. That's why we've taken such a huge effort in Davidson and Shelby counties to transform those school districts so that we will have teachers who ultimately want to go teach in Davidson County because it's a great experience. What we have to figure out at the state level is how do we balance the inequities of Wayne County with the affluencies of Williamson and Rutherford and things like that.
When you target and say Davidson and Shelby are these places where teachers don't want to teach, you're talking about in areas where there's a higher percentage of African American students.
Talking a higher percentage of violence in the classroom.
And your struggles have to do with not enough resources. So when you start putting, security people in the schools, but you're not funding the mental health care for children who need it.
On the House floor, I voted yes. To put $200 million in the mental health trust fund for schools to pull money down.
What should you do about gun violence? Nothing.
In communities that they live in that aren't in schools that are affecting their mental health.
That is the issues that we are trying to work with law enforcement to get them the resources they need to make the neighborhoods safer for the kids.
Funds under IDEA that are for students with social emotional disturbance, who are our most vulnerable students, for being, compelled to act like that, that you're talking about cutting.
But I don't understand what you're saying is because nobody at the General Assembly, if I'm aware of, nobody has uttered the words that we're going to cut funding.
Do you intend to raise taxes to make the funds, or what is the plan to make up for this
From
funds?
what we understand through the state budget, we already have the funds necessary to do this.
Why are we not testing rape kits then?
Well, that's a different topic we're talking about.
But you're saying we have state funds, why are we not doing it?
Making decisions about how
Well, let her go. She's been wanting to ask a question.
Go ahead.
When you say there are issues in the classroom, can we please have a better understanding of what specific issues you're talking
From
about?
teachers,
From students, teachers,
we have an enormous amount of discipline issues in the classroom. We see it on a pretty regular basis that the press reports about. Students attacking teachers in the classroom. One of the main reasons we hear that teachers are leaving the classroom right now in huge numbers is because of the violence in the classroom from students. It has nothing to do with firearms, it's just teachers getting beaten.
double this back to say that they're lashing out at teachers and authority figures. That could also relate back to mental health.
Oh, 100%.
And hunger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm hungry.
So,
25%
if you were here, one of the programs that they talked about were districts that were adopting district-wide feeding the kids, right? There are certain criteria that you have to adhere to through the federal government to be able to implement those programs. One of the things that we could do, and we've talked about, is trying to see if we could get types of grants or be able to get waivers in place to meet the needs of more of these kids in more of these districts, because it gets, as you saw, extremely expensive for these districts to have to pay for all kids to have food. And so that's a burden that we're trying to figure out, is there a way to do this and not break the bank?
So you're aware how to do that without rejecting federal funding?
Yeah.
Well, there might be.
So if we're rejecting these federal funding using state funds, that takes away the state funds from other places, like she said, the backlog of rape kits. Like
That's not true.
So
That's not true.
Fund genuinely asked.
So I asked the chairman of finance, out of our $56 billion budget, how much of that money was recurring revenue for one-time expenditures? Was roughly about $9 billion. But if there is that type of money available, that is for one-time fund, it gave TDOT $3 billion this year. If it's recurring money and we have that money coming back on a recurring basis, can we expand more for mental health for our students and our population? Can we provide more food for our kids in our classrooms, right? Can we provide more pay for our teachers, right? Can we use these funds in a recurring way? And can we, first question we have to ask ourselves is, do we gain anything in freedom and autonomy for our teachers by saying no to federal funds?
Why is it even a question to refuse the federal funds? What is the goal? What are the requirements that you're trying to avoid?
So one of the things I try to do as a legislator is look at all avenues of legislation, right? What are all the options out there for us to do? Because as taxpayers, you want to know that we are doing the best thing for Tennessee, whatever that may be, right? But if you don't explore all the different options, then we're in tunnel vision all the time, right? And the people coming forward are going to give us data that we need to make a good decision. That's all it's gonna do,
Do
right?
we have teachers on the panel?
Yes, they're coming.
So you said you had this money, but where is this money? We don't have the
Over
projects.
2 years ago, we increased funding for education $1 billion.
To be under, this year, the revenue is supposed to be down as compared to what you had projected.
Well, you have to remember, but you have to remember, we've had the sales tax holiday for the last 3 months.
If you have the extra money, why not expand TennCare?
Yeah,
All the
so-
people in the state who don't have health care coverage. Like, if you're talking about doing the best for Tennesseans, it really boggles our minds that you wouldn't take federal money to expand health care provision for people. State dollars that right now are not allocated, we might think about using them some other way. Why not bring the federal dollars in? Because we're at the bottom of so many things. I'm sorry.
One, when you talk about like wanting to get the voices of more people, are you all considering having hearings or that the public can have input after work hours so that parents, students, teachers can
Yes.
come?
That'd be a great question for the chairman. I think it's a wonderful idea if we could hopefully have these a little bit later in the day, so we could take advantage of parents being able to come here. As we get deeper into this, you're gonna get more and more data that's gonna start to bring that to light of what is the sustainability of moving forward, of can we continue to do this, right? We all know that budgets ebb and flow, right? We've had a tremendous ride here for over a decade. Now we're starting to hear the rumblings of this recession possibly looming here. Yes, this may be feasible, but maybe it's not feasible right now because of budget constraints. Or maybe we can take a couple things and do a couple things that might make it better for our Tennessee students, and we do those things.
Quick thought earlier, talking about food waste associated with the mandates for this funding of the lunches. There's a whole lot of creative ways to mitigate that. Nixing the program simply because there's food waste associated is ridiculous.
Again, I don't think we're saying we're gonna nix the
No,
program.
it's on the-
I think what we say is,
You're considering-
can we get autonomy to figure out how to do it better?
Eliminate the waste
just-
and take the money.
Just a comment on that.